Oh, no.
Hi, Susan.
Got out of security and I was like,
Oh, can you hear me?
Oh, no.
my wife used to complain that my water
Yeah.
logs picture was
I can
my,
hear you.
my screensaver on.
Hello?
It's like, where's
Hello?
my, you stupid water log?
Is it that one? Susan,
I'm here. Can you hear me?
You know what?
hello?
They wouldn't
Hi,
let
can
go
you hear
back
me?
to
I'm
it.
here.
They deemed it trivial.
Is the owl a speaker also?
Yes.
I got my mic on.
The speaker. It was good. No,
Yes, ma'am.
good.
Yeah, I'll.
Susan.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
She's talking because her.
Hello?
Hello? I can hear you. I don't know what's going on.
He's trying to talk.
She's trying to talk because her thing is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on. Everything's on. I don't know.
Hello?
I've never used this program before. I'll try it on my phone.
It might be her.
She just dropped off. It might be her.
That happened to me like about a month ago where I couldn't get my audio. And I really just had to close everything out.
And come back in?
Yeah, but even my computer, I had to close out too. I think it was when I updated Windows or something.
Maybe that's what happened to her.
Yeah.
Not extra if you know.
You need to put it in another pocket.
Yeah, it's not me. I think it's her.
Did you get me?
Oh. Accept.
It looks like him, but
Sarah, is it okay that I'm asking these questions during when I'm? I see that.
Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're not gonna allow.
You didn't want her.
Yes, pointing.
Yeah, apparently they passed, I haven't tried them yet, I probably won't, just because why would I risk not being able to?
Yeah.
So when I got his and we both got pulled out and freaking. There was nothing in mine, his has a giant bottle. And he didn't speak very good English. I- his English. You can't take it, you have to go back out there, get rid of it, get back in line. The guy's looking at his watch, and he's like, I don't understand all this, my I said, can't he just give you the bottle and you can get rid of it? He said, well, yeah, you can do that too. I said, "You can't make it."
Hi, Susan.
Hey, I'm trying. Can you hear me now? I'm trying on my phone.
You go.
All right, that gets us to the magic number.
Okay.
Couldn't make it to the Alice Gerard thing in Cat's Cradle last week. It was a wonderful evening.
My sound quality hearing you is not as good here as it was on the computer, but you couldn't hear me on the computer, so I don't know what's going on.
Fortunately, we have a very short agenda tonight. We are missing the refreshments the county provided. And I'll call this to order at 6:39. Are there any additions or changes to the agenda?
Mr. Chair, I'm gonna ask that when we get to the next meeting down at the bottom, that I just ask that if we can adopt that as formally the change to the meeting calendar. Not just as an announcement.
We have a meeting calendar for the rest of the year.
It's done on the fiscal year, so you're set for a few more months.
Yeah, historical commission does it on the calendar year.
It is what it is.
Your department. You know, miss the January. All right. I would also should mention before we get down to our light work here that Greg, Sherry and I were planning to go out for a drink afterwards as part of our celebrations. If anyone wants to join us, we'll probably just go up to Colonial Inn and I think Spencer's Tavern. It's so Hillsborough, that was his name from 1838 to 1841. Use it still. If there's no public to comment, so do we have any changes, additions, corrections to the minutes of the meeting of November 17th?
These are not minutes exactly, but these are the, this is on, like, the plan where they have answers to our questions.
It's a lot. So I added, it is the minutes and the things that y'all asked. It's a combination. So I thought it was important to put some of the questions. Y'all had a lot of questions. You're welcome.
I just saw two small typos.
Okay.
Line 103. It was, is the pipe kind crash tool, not the pipe.
Okay.
And the Thorburn Road is still affected.
You said 110.
On line 110, yeah.
DRWA.
Thorburn Road is spelled with an E.
Okay.
Any other corrections? Not, I'll entertain a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to accept with the corrections.
Greg moves to accept with corrections. We have a second.
90 seconds.
90 seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thanks. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Brings us to staff report and updates.
Carolyn, did you want to tell them about the Mother Christmas parade at all? Sure. So we had, Jamel was with me as well.
Yeah.
We had a wonderful time at the parade. We passed out magnets and candy and buses, and we were
Passed
able,
out buses.
the little squeezy
Oh, yeah.
the little buses, and little squeezy ones, and we was able to really meet and reach a lot of people. I was on one side and Jamel was on the other side, and you had some Christmas music playing.
We
And
did.
we had a really good time. We decorated the bus. You saw some of the pictures, and we had our little Santa hats and things on. So it was really fun. We had a really good time, and we was able to promote that Mebane is coming to see you soon in 2026. You have anything you want to add, Jamel? Okay.
You guys got to stay in one place. I
Yes.
like this idea a lot better than the Hillsborough parade.
Right. And then Heidi, did you want to talk about the event that we was together?
Oh,
The bike event with,
what was it, a Vision Zero? I can't remember exactly what the title of it was, but it was definitely a safety event that, the Triangle West TPO put on, and it was at the public library, and they had Veronica Davis, who
Yes.
wrote about inclusive transportation as the keynote, and she was very dynamic.
She
and,
was.
I thought they had interesting sessions. Some of them, you give them all these ideas, what happens to them, I don't know. But I thought it was well run, and then after it, we did a bike ride around the town to look at some of the things that they've been working on, like the new Estes Drive facilities. I thought it was really good. How about you?
It was really, really good. I enjoyed it. I think you covered it well. I know you invited me to do the bike, but I had to come back.
That's okay. They had a lot of e-bikes there for people to borrow.
Those are so fun. They're good for people that don't bike as often. Good way to chat.
They even had a trike there.
Each right?
Those are so, yeah. The ones with the big basket.
This one did not have a big basket. It was, a Venmo, I think it was a Venmo, and it was, possibly a folding bike. I can't remember. The guy who wrote it, is a guy that used to give 10,000 mile a year bike rider and active bike driver, and no insurance and no valid license and expired tags. And now he is in a wheelchair a lot of the time. He can walk, but for short distances. So he was happy to have that. Although they did say the other e-bikes had a top speed, I think, of 28, and his had a top speed of 20. Or maybe theirs were top 20 and his was 18. Whatever it was, his was less.
Yeah.
So.
Have we encountered any safety issues with people hopping on e-bikes who don't really know what they're doing?
Sure, it's like regular bikes.
Mhm. I would say yes, if they don't know what they're
Seems like
doing.
they'd be more dangerous than regular.
A lot could be done with education.
They did with some of the scooters too. Saw one the other day that was in a regular lane. And it wasn't until the last minute where I saw like a little red light in the back because just the way that they're designed, they're not very visible, especially when it's dark out.
Visibility is, it's frustrating sometimes to see people. I like to say bike riders, you may be enlightened, but you are not light.
So our big heavy topic on the agenda this evening. Are you ready for it?
Yes.
Okay. Darlene's gonna help take some notes in real time on the slides as we go through this.
Let me go out of it.
She might, okay.
Yeah, hold on.
So one of the things that we report on for you all every year is we do a report on a calendar year basis to commissioners about some of the highlights of the year of the things that the board has accomplished. And so we wanted to take some time tonight to talk to you all about some of the accomplishments and the things that you're most proud of that we have done this year. And so in your packet, the last 2 pages are for this conversation. The last page you're actually going to tear off and turn back in a minute here. But the page that's numbered is all the topics that we've covered this year. So, Darlene, if you can go to the second. So I'd like you to look at this list of topics. Just take a moment and I'll just give you a couple minutes to read through it. And think about the most frequent topics, the ones that brought the most discussion, the ones that were the most memorable, and the ones that you think made the biggest impact. I'm gonna give you just a minute to think about that, and then we're gonna talk through those 4 things. And Darlene can help us take a couple of notes, and we're gonna use that to feed into the report that we need to make to commissioners. I'll just give you a couple of minutes to think about that.
My acronym list, what is DAC?
Development Advisory Committee.
Can I ask about that one in particular? Is that the one that where it was a review of land use projects that would be done by you and transportation?
That's when we're new development projects are coming in or change of use, those types of things come in and we're reviewing them to see what transportation impacts there might be.
Oh, yes, okay, so that's what that is. That's what I wanted.
So some of those never got to us.
Right.
They don't come to this board. That's something that staff looks at. So think about, I'm going to start with the most frequent topics. Which one do you feel like you were spending the most time on and seeing the most frequently throughout the year?
That was on the steering committee for that meeting. We get a list of, are they meeting? Is their steering committee still meeting? Or now that it's been approved by the county commissioners, what's the next step?
We're working through some of that with the bike ped plan. So those projects are working into, they're getting scheduled for implementation through the bike ped plan.
Sidewalk came up a lot too.
I said it's come up for the last decade.
Yes, right. I don't know what the actual upshot of it is.
Any others that you felt like were just,
Considerable time on the policies and procedures update for the board and the orientation materials.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you said the orientation.
orientation? So
So is the mobility on demand on here somewhere?
not by itself as a standalone topic.
I mean, we did early in the year spend quite a bit of time with that in the 10 mile out of county.
Do you want to put that under something you have a lot of discussion on more than a frequent topic?
Maybe we can broaden the blue and orange routes and the free fare. I think important things happened this year in the transportation side.
Yeah.
Those three things, I think, amongst others.
Okay, so the mall. And then we talked about the free fare, and what was the third thing?
The blue and orange together.
Okay.
Impactful things.
They are very impactful together. I mean, when we think about expanding service and making transportation service better for the public, those are huge in Jamal's world.
Yes,
Yes, yes, very.
operationalizing.
Yes, a lot of time into those.
Did we not look at the STIP projects? We only look at non-STIP projects? I'm looking.
I think that's, isn't that 8? There's a spot, 1.8.
Oh, okay, all right.
So what else do you feel like was there a lot of discussion about during the year?
Spend a lot of time talking about the spot and non-STIP. They're constant every year.
They are.
I think there's a lot of debate on how they're scored and do we agree with the scoring? And I think we had to have a couple of follow-ups after there was some disagreement on that.
On a similar front, I think it maybe is captured under point 2, the multimodal assessment. And there was a lot of energy about Highway 70 and the future of that corridor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This year.
But there was part of it was this year.
Yeah, that was back in the first half of the year.
Yeah.
And then my hand just not running here. L T O M.
Oh, close.
Ah!
Close.
Oh. Did I miss something? Okay, look, there we go.
Don't worry.
There we go.
You know you work in transportation when your spell check knows that word, right?
Yes, it knows it.
Anything else you want to add to those two topics? Okay. What's on the next one, Darlene? The most memorable topics for the year. What really stood out for you as
Most memorable, but some of the education around how our bus shelters are designed and like how they come in a kit. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Thought that was most memorable. You know, it's-
No, I mean,
Education.
anything. So it's further report to the commissioners, but it also helps us as we're thinking about what we're bringing with you and sharing with you next year. Because if something like that stands out, we can share more of the how and the why behind some of these things that we're doing. If that helps the material stick with you and makes an impact, we're glad to do that.
I will say that the Safe Routes to School plan, very memorable for me, and I'm still. Here, can you just explain to me, is there a steering committee or is there not a steering committee?
There is not a steering committee that's meeting right now.
Should we take that? Was there ever one?
I did not work with one
I mean,
since I've been here in
that's
April.
why I'm confused.
It was a topic that was at the meetings.
Mhm.
You mean forming a steering committee was the topic?
We talked a lot about safe routes to school,
did,
not
yes.
so much about the steering
I don't
committee.
remember any talk. I didn't either.
Okay.
Okay.
We pulled the old agendas and made a list. So that's what happened.
Memory is not the best, but I don't remember having that discussion because I would have been very curious about who was serving
I'm sure others would too.
on.
Thank you, Heidi.
I know that this isn't a thing for the commissioners, but I think that having the orientation materials was very memorable for me. It wasn't some exterior thing, but it was an interior thing that was very important, I think, for a lot of us. Because it really helped. It was, for me, it was memorable.
It's important to the
It
group
was
and the
needed.
structure and
Finding the acronyms and the policies. And
Yeah.
I think some of those
Understanding.
things we're going back and forth on and finally have it.
supporting you all and doing your work well together.
I think that's also quite important in terms of things like who's got accountability and where we find gaps, like in safe routes to schools, who's got the ball. And we can look at our guidance and say, we don't have the ball, should we have the ball? So, yeah, it's gonna be helpful in everything we do.
Susan's hand is up. Susan?
Unmute.
Yeah.
Did you have any comments?
I think, it's kind of coming up, but, and I feel like I'm just learning so much. But the fare-free buses I find very exciting. I know that's really into next year and a new thing. And I guess also the new route. I'm trying to live my life either riding the bus or walking or biking. And for the time it was working, dividing that route and creating two was exciting.
Yeah, I think that it sounds like there's a lot of excitement about transit.
Mhm.
Yes. That's the area I'm most excited about, I think.
That's a great lead into the last topic that I wanted to bring up for today, which was the biggest impact. And so there's two parts to that. What is the biggest impact for commissioners of the work that we've done? And what do you think is the biggest impact for the public?
Commissioners is the orientation materials. Big leap forward from giving a CD-ROM of the UDO.
That is a big difference, right? What do you think's the biggest impact that we can make for the public this year, or that we have made for the public this year in the work that we've done? You think that advancing some of these non-STIP projects and prioritizing those, helping select those is important for the public? Some of these transit things?
I like to think all the things we will. They weren't. I will.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I think we put a lot of work into multimodal, at least into the administrative side of it.
And I think the transit things, as you said, they fit into all of these categories. Making a real difference today. And I love that this happened so fast. It's one of the more memorable things to me. And now it's on my phone.
Aw.
I mean, we just talked about it and boom, there's stickers and stickers are real, right?
Can't put it on a sticker.
Yeah. There's no fake news. Sorry. Sorry.
Our staff are wearing t-shirts and
don't have mine.
we told, nobody has theirs on today, but we said that they're human billboards, right? Because if they're wearing t-shirts that say that, then all the riders see them every day. And so every passenger is getting that message that they're not gonna have to pay a fare in January, and we encourage them to ride more with that information. Yeah.
This may be outside of this, but have you, or has somebody gone on not just HUP, but, CHL to talk about this?
So, the commissioners, the chair has a radio show that they do, and so it'll be on.
Is that on CHL?
Yeah,
But it might be good to try to do on the news section. And Aaron, Peck is the guy who does that, and I can get you an email address if you'd like, but it has a different audience and people, you know.
Yeah.
Are there any signs on the sides of the buses saying fare free?
Yeah, it should.
We've talked about getting some signage on buses, and there are gonna be signs going up along the routes, some physical signs, like they go in the ground, will be going up soon too.
it's
It'd
an
be great if we
8K.
could get a wrapper too on some of the buses that advertised it.
You know,
So we were gonna do some magnets, because we can get those bigger.
especially in the back of a bus, because all the people that are driving will see that and maybe get inspired. I know we're getting into different weeds and I apologize. That's my bent. The weeds, that is now. Anyway, just thought.
Thank you.
Eric Keck's emails akeck@chapelboro.com.
It's what?
akeck@chapelboro.com, AKECK.
Hey, wait,
You can get it after
I'll
the,
get it out there.
okay. So lots of things making a big impact to the public this year. That's important. And I think that that's really the takeaway for commissioners and the things that we want to highlight when we do the report for them. And I think that just having this conversation will help Darlene to put together that report and for us to support her in getting that together on behalf of this board for the year. So that's the looking back part, and the other part is looking forward. So as we think about looking forward, what I wanted to ask you all to do is to look at this sheet here and looking at each of the areas that we work in our department. If you can rank these functions 1 to 4 with what you feel most knowledgeable about, what you have the least depth of understanding about, so what you need to learn more about, and where you feel like the outboard should be most involved going forward. Yes, you feel most knowledgeable right now. And where you have the least depth of understanding, so you need more understanding. And then where you feel like the outboard should be most involved going forward. And then also share some ideas for topics you'd like to hear about in the next year. things that you've heard about in the last year or over time when you've been on the outboard, or that you just have heard a little bit about and might have a greater interest in. And this will help us think about where to put some efforts as we are preparing content for you for the next few months.
I can ask a question about that,
Yes.
but just more of the group. I had, because I don't know how it would fit in here. I am often in either seeing or in the middle of stop traffic on Church Street from the bridge, the railroad bridge, front. And it's all within Hillsborough, and Darlene, you kindly sent on the response from NCDOT, but that's not, I mean, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what's going on in Hillsborough. I'm concerned about air quality, especially particulate matter because of all the stopped cars. And I mean, it happens at 2:30 in the afternoon. It happens at, it's like all day. And it's like, I keep thinking, why are all these people coming in, stuff? And I know that we don't really have any responsibility in the town of Hillsborough. I don't think. But I think, and I know that there have been several efforts to try to do something about the traffic there. And they've all been squashed, mostly by NIMBY, but other things. But it's a problem. It's not worth. And there's all that new construction that's going on north of 86, north of 70. And that's just going to make it worse. And I know that some of it has to do with the construction on, 40 and all this kind of stuff. My question is it possible for this group to have some kind of task force or something to work with the town to try to come up with some just have conversations about that problem and what the vision could be to address it?
But first, we'd like to know what they're doing already.
So that would be part of it. But I think it has to be some kind of joint effort because it's the roads outside and the roads inside.
So a lot of those are going to be state highways, right, Darlene? Because
Right.
we've looked at those before. So those are really, so those aren't town maintained roads. So those are conversations with NCDOT.
Well, then can we do that?
We can certainly connect with folks at NCDOT and ask them what their availability is. But they don't address things like air quality at NCDOT.
No, I know. They don't want to. I know. But I would like to see if we could even, if this board could, and maybe we can't. Maybe it has to be done separately to go to the NC environmental department and ask them to put an air quality monitor across from Weavers. They may or may not be able to do that. But my point is that I think there should be some conversations because it just seems like NCDOT kind of on its own or maybe in isolation comes up with some plans and then they come out and everybody's like, no, that's work. And they're having so much trouble just getting Orange Grove Road extension.
I think, Sherry, what might be a better match than necessarily talking about transportation specifically would be you're sounding like you're really leaning more towards the sustainability part of it and the air quality. Have you connected with the sustainability department in Orange County? Because we do have an office of sustainability. And so we have a sustainability plan and there are sustainability goals for Orange County as an organization. And there are goals about that. And there are things that the county as an organization is doing, like trying to reduce the number of diesel vehicles that the county owns specifically, things of that nature. And so the county is taking its own steps to make improvements in that area. So Darlene and I can send you some information about that and connect you with the sustainability staff in Orange County.
Would it be helpful to put on an agenda for next year, a conversation with the sustainability staff and have them join us and we can hear what their plan is and we can talk about it? Or
yeah, if you can add that on your sheet. And so what we'll do is we're going to get all the ideas from everybody. And then we're gonna talk with the chair and vice chair and see what staff's available and the different projects that we need to bring up and start putting together where all those things kind of shake out.
Well, 15 years ago, there was a plan for an East Hillsborough bypass, Dick Jenrette
I know,
killed it all.
I know all that. If you can't touch the
And then-
Beachy Speedway now.
And then I advocated like a dozen years ago for just using signage to encourage people to go Lawrence Road to get around to the north side of town instead of going through downtown, but staff at that time blanched at the suggestion or even talking about such an idea. I said, no trucks go down Lawrence Road, which is an all-face lie.
Well, I just think that that is a continued and growing issue. I live in Hillsborough. And I just recognize that it's, it is amazing, the traffic volumes. And I don't know if if it's NCDOT, DOT that's collecting the traffic volumes, if they're doing anything with them, what their plan is. That would be helpful, and I will write it down.
Okay. Then that'll get everybody's ideas together and we'll start looking at how those shake out with the things that we know we have to bring you. And that way we can get those other ideas that everybody has into. I feel like,
Yeah. I just want to chime in, and I'm hoping the sound quality is okay for you all. But I think I agree wholeheartedly with what's being said, and I think it's also a transit issue too. How many of those people in cars could ride our buses, and how do we find out what they need and where they need to go? That's something I'm very interested in.
This survey.
You know, lots of empty buses riding around are not helping the environment either.
right.
I think a lot of these issues, like this one that we're talking about, there's not a single solution that one department or one program can manage. They're multi-departmental.
Absolutely.
It's amazing that downtown Hillsborough, you put 20 cars on Sheridan and you have a traffic jam.
Right,
Right.
absolutely,
I mean, it's all the time.
absolutely.
Two-part question on the looking forward part. First part, are you looking for stack ranking like 1 through 4, so you can't reuse a number,
Right,
okay?
Right.
And the second part is, can you maybe expand on the definitions? Because like I looked at the top one with the transportation planning and then the last one, administration,
yeah.
strategic plan. Like, I'm trying to understand what the difference is.
So transportation planning is the part of our team that does the roads projects, the bike ped plan, the non-step projects, those types of things, the bike ped plan. Anything that is not transit operations that is happening in our group for the most part falls in that group, in transportation planning. Engagement is the community outreach, the advertising, those things that might happen in the community engagement office or historically with a PIO type of operations. Transit operations is running the buses.
That's gonna be our transit services mod demand response.
So that's,
And then the last one is strategic planning.
and administration is the folks person that helps us with our budget and finances, that's where our grants fall, which is a huge part of our funding to do what we do. And then strategic planning is something that's new for this group. I've shared that we have just finished up the mission and vision, which is super exciting for us. And the staff has adopted a mission and vision. We're going to be working on core values in January, and that's leading us into doing a department strategic plan. So if that's something you're interested in hearing more about, let us know. We'll probably update you in some format, either just very briefly or taking longer if you're more interested in that. But that really helps drive what we're doing and the staff understanding how all of their work fits together across all these areas.
Yeah, I'd be interested in hearing more about that. Although I'm getting myself into 12 years ago.
So on the engagement bullet, I recognize that contains sort of external public engagement communications. What about internal within the government and agency communication. That was something that Nish was always, that was his space.
Mhm.
There's still large gaps for me about where we can interact, where we should be interacting.
Yeah,
Sometimes, I'll be honest, sometimes I felt like we would get a data dump and we were asked to check it off that we were there. Not to criticize anyone, but I think we have a new opportunity. And I think you see more energy about
Yeah.
engaging.
what's most helpful for us is if you can help be the eyes and ears and you hear things and you bring them back and share them with us. And then we as the professional staff can interact with other professionals and convey those messages and report them back to you. But if you hear things in the community and you share them with us, I want to be really diligent about getting answers and not just us getting back to the person that's asked, but if, if it's your neighbor, if it's your colleague, if it's whoever, sharing that information with you too, so that you're learning about the things that are going on as well. But just trying to keep that, we don't want to burden you with too much of that too, because we know you've got a lot going on outside of this. But we want to invite you to events that are going on too. That's part of the newsletter format with your agenda, is that you can see those things happening. And this is not the busiest time of year for engagement, right? But it's more those start picking up when the weather gets warmer. We're going to try and put some of those looking forward events so that, if something's coming up in 2 weeks on a Saturday, you can stop by and see what's going on and be there for those events. We want you to be there, participate in those. What else?
So is there a staff person who goes to the TARPO meetings and a staff person who goes to the TWTPO meetings?
Yes.
Both of them.
Yes.
Okay.
And also the Burlington Graham MPO meetings. So we have 3 to cover.
Thinking about that in terms of future topics, are there issues that come up in those meetings that this board should just be aware of? I mean, if it helps you, maybe thinking about a quarterly update on what's going on with the MCOs or something like that.
A lot of the topics that are rising to those boards, you're getting before they get there. For example, like the STIP projects, we're getting input from you as we're discussing them with the technical committee, which is the staff group, because you're sharing those and we're getting the community engagement and the input from you all. And then we're talking to our colleagues before it's getting recommended and voted on there.
But it would be interesting for me to know what their response is. In other words,
Okay,
we do things here.
but you want to get the back down.
Yeah, because those are their elected officials and they're gonna be,
Okay.
The people that they ultimately make the decisions and they're the ones that influence the DOT more than any. And, I don't know what their thinking is. So I'll write that down on my list.
Okay.
And added a similar thing on it, I called it closed loop on recommendations. What was the impact and results, whether it's at a board meeting or anything else that we're voting on, if it's something about safety, did we actually improve safety, and it's probably like over time. So just kind of like understand a little bit more, if we had a discussion, did we make a difference or did we just spend a lot of time talking about it?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Get up there and go.
Right.
Because you never know, right? If we don't come and tell
Right.
you. Very
Can I
good.
just say COG? Can I just say COG response?
Yes,
Because
yes,
there's
yeah.
3 or 4.
Yeah. We'll know what that is. Very good. Well, if you finish filling those out, we'll get them from you before you leave. Don't take them home. That will not do us any good. And just, if you can, keep in mind that we would love if you would adopt that meeting for January, the change to the calendar, not just an announcement.
Yeah, we need to go on.
So,
No,
It is on a Thursday because that is a joint meeting with the Parks and Rec Council and the consultant for our bike and ped plan and the trails plan will both be here in person to present to you all at the joint meeting to get all the feedback together.
It's just under
Sure,
adjournment.
that's what the 15th is.
Just
So it's a different day of the
Because that would have.
Same time? It is at the same time, and it's at the Bonnie D. Davis Center. So it's a little bit bigger space.
So we'd be needing a motion to change that one meeting in January to the 15th. From the 20th, I guess.
Yes.
And the 20th, we were gonna have to change anyway, because it was MLK Day.
Where the bylaws have it, if it's a holiday, it's the second Monday. But we still have to make it.
I think the simplest thing would be a motion to change the January meeting to Thursday, January 15th, if someone would be willing to make that.
I'll make that motion, Art, to change, the meeting date, in January to January the 15th.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Thanks, Susan. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carried unanimously.
And if anybody cannot make it and wants to watch the video and then send an email with feedback after, I'd be glad to have feedback that way too.
Maybe it didn't have.
Can we have a different date for February 2026, just because it's President's Day on the 16th? Is that a, do we change that?
We don't,
I don't think
We're not
we're,
closed
we're,
for President's
we're
You're
not
not
closed
closed for
for President's Day. No.
And I'm not sure who sent out the calendar invite, but we can have that updated as well. Because I live and die by the calendar.
Okay.
Wrong day.
Yes.
Yeah. y'all need to do that.
thank you for being agreeable to the 15th. That is challenging to get the consultants available.
All right, if there's no further business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Big push to adjourn.
Meeting adjourned at 7:21. We still have some of the county refreshments, and I think very shortly, Greg and Sherry and I'll head up the old Cedar Walk to the Colonial Inn. If anyone wants to join us, you're certainly welcome to.
Very kind of you, but not only fine, just have to go home.
Thank y'all for joining us online. The meeting is over. Happy holidays. See you next year.
Now, here's a
Thank you
caution.
all.
Harry, from y'all, don't spend $1 million and don't tell nobody.